All right, all right. Good morning, everybody. How are we today?
Good.
Excellent. Thanks for jumping in and being here today. I've got a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to turn our educational piece into a bit of a game because that's how I roll, right? So as always, we're going to start with gratitude. This is our last business meeting for the year, which is just bonkers to me, by the way. I don't know where time goes, but I'd like to hear what you guys have been thankful for this year, not just this week, but this year. I'll start because I want to. I'm really thankful to be back. Like I am. I'm thankful that I had an opportunity to come back into RBN as GM and to be back in your guys' world and be able to continue pouring into you. I love it. I absolutely love RBN, KW, more specifically you guys, and the value you add to our organization and our family and the community itself. I know this year has been unique. I know we've heard words like challenging and hard. I like to think of it as an opportunity, right? Because it's an opportunity for us to grow in our skill set, right, and our knowledge. And it's really an opportunity for us to take our unfair share, because the agents that got in when it was easy in a very blessed market are going back to a good old JOB. We're going to love them on the way out, and it's going to allow us to be able to elevate the industry in the quality that we're doing and our reputations, right? Because when we are professionals in our industry and we lead our business this way, it will only improve the reputation for those in our community and the public's viewpoint, right? So from used car salesman, let's work our way up to the reputation of nurse, as we should, because we're helping people with the biggest impact and decision when it comes to buying a home, right? And generational wealth and all that. So there's my spill. You're welcome. Woo!
Yes.
You. Oh, what, me?
Yeah.
Oh. Aw.
No, seriously. If there's anyone that is like a driving force, like continues to just be the comeback kid, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think you and my mom might be related, because I keep telling her she's got 9 lives, and it's pretty freaking awesome. And every time your attitude is better, your appearance is fantastic.
Shoot.
No, I mean, I'm serious, and I love the support, the endorsement, the attitude, and everything you bring to the table. I think it's just, it's inspirational, it's encouraging, and I think it's very much needed.
Thank you.
So, thank
Yeah,
you.
Who else?
I'm supportive of the community of agents in here that actually supported me so I could go on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Life by design. I love that. Let's hear a couple more before we jump into the rest of the meeting. Yes.
I am grateful and supportive of each and everyone here. I love the positive attitude, how everyone is just such a cohesiveness environment, like a team player. If I need help, I know I can go to anybody, and if I can't find the answer, I can knock on anyone's door, and everyone's just so welcome. So thank you for being here and being kind. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right, one more.
Well, I'm like Wendy, I just came back a year ago in this position, and I'm grateful for the engagement of the brokers in education and compliance. That makes me my job very fulfilling. And I'm also grateful that I'm going to be with both my sons and my little grandson for Christmas. I'll be in Minnesota, so I'll be wearing my long johns.
Well, Susan, that was a great spot to end, because we're going to have you up. As always, please remember to abide and honor the do not call list. If anybody has questions, just reach out to the ELT, who can help you navigate that. But this is something that you guys need to keep in the forefront as we're navigating and being more intentional with causing our production, which is by lead generation, right? So just keeping that in the forefront as always. Susan, take it away.
And I want to, I do have a slide or two. Well, I'll talk about this first.
You just
So,
tell me when to click, girl, I got you.
okay, thanks. Well, I want to say that the class that we had with Annie Fitzsimmons surrounding the changes in agency law that are taking place at the beginning of the year, along with the changes in the corresponding forms, was really attended. We had about 150.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
And I want you all to know that this was actually Lindy's idea. So I
Lindy.
just put it in. Yeah. She said, "Yeah, how about that? Annie Fitzsimmons coming beach club." Well, right on. Let's do it. So the brokers supported it. Also, I want to mention how hard the office staff worked to get that all ready. It was a lot of extra work for them, but being sponsors, booking the venue, putting out the forms, keeping a class log, having to email everybody the link so they could do their evaluation and get their credit. So there are a lot of moving parts in that kind of event, and it just went so smoothly because we've got such a great team. So I was really glad to see all of you guys there. I even had people come up from other brokerages after the class and say, "Thanks so much for this. This is just an awesome opportunity." It's going to be information that will serve you well as we move into the new year. And speaking of that, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the listing agreement and how that's going to change. So the whole focus of the changes in this law is to increase transparency, make sure that brokers have a written contract with their clients, buyers and sellers, and it requires specific consumer consent to dual agency, rewrites the agency law pamphlet into lay terms, and clarifies that minimum agency duties are owed to all parties. So some of the questions I've been getting around these changes. What if I have a buyer agency form that was drafted in 2023, but the deal isn't closing until 2024? What do I do? Well, it needs replacing. Best practice is to go ahead and replace it because there are specific terms in the new buyer's agency agreement that are different. If I have a signed around purchase and sale in 2023, do I have to replace that whole thing? Or if it's not closing until 2024? No, you do not. How about a listing agreement? I got a listing agreement signed in 2023. We're not listing it for 60 days. Do I have to have that executed?
Yes.
No. You can simply amend it using Form 18 because the critical change, and that's the amendment to the listing agreement, right? So the critical change in the listing agreement is having the consumer consent to limited dual agency. So if there is limited dual agency, you really need that amendment done. If you don't have that, perfect world, sure, but best practice to have the updated form signed. But it really must be done is if you have a limited dual agency, because there's new language surrounding that in our listing agreement. So go up. Oh, here's my top here. So here. So one of the change, well, there's a new paragraph here for the listing term that we can write in here. And then I want you to notice that on this agency paragraph, it says seller acknowledges receipt of the pamphlet, the real estate brokerage in Washington. So by signing this, and by the way, it's also contained in Form 21, it's also contained in buyer agency agreement. You don't need to have the seller or the buyer sign the pamphlet itself. By signing these forms, they're providing their acknowledgement. And I see a lot of those come through in commands where people have their agency agreement and they've had their clients initialize. That's fine. I mean, if that's your habit and you want to do that, but you don't really have to have that done. In agency, I think we're covered by the existing forms, as long as you have the proper ones executed. And in section 4, here is our new language about a limited dual agent. And so it's not just being called dual agency anymore. By the nomenclature, it's saying to the consumer, the services, if your agent is going to be working on both sides of the table, are going to be by definition limited. And it is not an easy job to sit on both sides of the table. You have to be really careful about what you say in the course of a transaction. Some people are comfortable with this kind of scenario, others are not. If you're not, we can find you somebody to help on the other side.
We no longer have to use Form 42 then for the.
You really don't. You're covered. The list date in 5, there is a new paragraph or a new sentence addressing privacy concerns at the bottom here. That's the change to that paragraph. This paragraph used to be in paragraph 9, so they just moved it up to give it, I guess, higher visibility. And then in section 7, can we go forward or down? Do we have or next page maybe? No more pages?
No more clicky click.
Oh, okay.
I think that is the last one.
Oh, okay. Well, there are more pages. I don't know. To this form. Section 7 is the one that reformats and adds clarification to the compensation agreement.
Oh, I think it worked.
Yeah, there you
Did it work?
Oh, yay, yay, you did it, right here. So here's, this is kind of cleaned up a bit. So that's listing firm compensation, buyer brokerage firm compensation. Remember, they're being decoupled by virtue of the new law. They're separate now. It's not, everything goes to the listing firm, and of that, some goes to the buyer brokerage. No, it's the listing firm and selling firm get paid separately. And there's also provision for a dual agency. And this is an important sentence. Seller acknowledges that offering compensation to buyer brokerage firm is not required. That's an important component of the new law. And that is something that your client needs to understand.
What number is that, Susan, please?
This is 7V.
V is in Victor?
7V. Yeah, V is in Victor. So that's a really critical one. Fill that out. And it is also critical that you fill out the compensation section on Form 21. So you get paid along with your agency agreement. Those are needed so that who's getting paid what is really clear. Paragraph 8, this one has just been updated a little bit to add language regarding the electronic keys. And then go down, I think it's on the next page, or it's number 15. Oh, no.
Did I go too far?
Oh,
That's right. That's
oh, here, it is 15. So this one is kind of interesting. In the event seller retains earnest money as liquidated damages on a buyer's breach, this will be paid and will be retained. And you can either say retained by seller or divided equally. But if that box isn't checked, the default is seller gets it all. So be careful of that one. That's a little hidden trap door there. Okay. Those are kind of the highlights. We'll be continuing to dissect the buyer's agency agreement and the changes in agency law as we move forward toward that deadline.
Annie Fitzsimmons said something about, because this one, I can't remember the exact date, I want to tell you it's 90 days on this one. Do we have an office form that will do past 90 days? Or can we just remove that time frame from this contract?
Okay, so that's a good question. It is 90 days now from signing to listing. It used to be 30. So that's a big plus for us because there's a lot more leeway. However, I'm getting some questions around the issue of, okay, what if my seller wants to do a consultation? And they want to know what do they need to do with their house to fix it up to get it ready to go on the market. And they're not going to have it ready for 4 or 5 months, maybe 6, because they've got to paint the house, got to wait for the weather to get better. They've got to pick out tile, they've got to pick out carpet. What do I do about that? So if we want to have some kind of agreement with our seller that we're going to be listing their house, we can't use this listing agreement for that because it's only good for 90 days, right? So I'm working on a form or an agreement that I'm going to have vetted by the attorney that the firm uses for this kind of consultation to set up an agreement to address that gap. I think that'll be really helpful for us. Okay, that's it, right?
Debbie.
I have 2 slides? Oh. Tell me your week, don't you?
I got you.
No, I was just gonna say, we don't have any real new updates or anything, but, I shouldn't have checked the other day. The income guidelines for conventional are getting just as strict as FHA and VA, so when it comes to overtime, it has to be stabilized. So if I've got somebody that's got really good overtime, then all of a sudden they take a month with none, they're not gonna count that as stabilized. So when we're meeting with our clients, we're trying to stress to them, we are gonna use your overtime for qualifying, so please continue to take it until you close. After that, we'll move on. But right now, we're seeing it as an issue, and I'm gonna catch it up front. Especially these clients that were going to the maximum DTI, don't wanna have a problem at the end. The other thing is, on credit, we're still going through the same thing. Isaiah and I this morning got our application and we're looking at it. How can a buyer have 26 open trade lines of credit cards? They do, and it's amazing what that monthly minimum adds up to. And they're late, so of course the credit's not that the best. But how can somebody manage 26 open credit trade lines? Well, they can't. So I've got to do a little bit better job, I think, at my home buyer class explaining all that. So that's about it for updates. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you so much for all the business you've given me this year. Let's get right back to work the 26th and start calling our buyers. The rates are dropping and they're continuing to drop. Let's get those buyers. I think I said last time, we're gonna do this the second Tuesday of every month. Tina's graciously accepted the invitation to teach with me. Second Tuesday every month, 6 o'clock, right here, agents and buyers, please. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, the infamous business plan. I feel like we've been talking about it since November.
October.
October.
Okay, I'll start it. I want to welcome back to our office a sweet friend of mine, Joy Haroon, Victoria, and she's back. Good. We're glad you're back.
Okay, let me correct myself because you guys did October business planning clinic, right? I wanted to turn this into a bit of a game because it is something that we've talked about at length. And again, you know, to master something, 10,000 hours, right? So we're going to turn it into a bit of a game because there's a lot of tools behind your business plan when it comes to the ecosystem of Keller Williams, right? So the first one we're going to talk about is the 135. What is the other name for the 135? Yeah, why did we change our narrative from 135 to GPS? Why do you think we went that route? Okay.
It's more obvious.
Kind of, right? So what is a GPS used for?
Giving you the
Directions.
Yes. Okay, I want you guys to keep that visual, right? Our 135 is supposed to be something that is monitoring and guiding us as we go into 2024. It should be up on your wall, in your planners, right? It should be something that you guys are using as your compass, right? It is guiding you in the right direction. What comes after and in addition to your GPS or your 135?
411.
Yes. What does the 411 stand for? Can someone say that louder? A little bit louder.
4 weeks in a month, 1 month at a time, 1 year at a time, I think is what I remember it being.
That is correct.
Your one big goal. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So when we look at the difference between the GPS and the 411, another way to look at it is the GPS is a report. Okay, you're going to reference it. Your 411 is a tool. What do I mean by that? What's the difference between a report and a tool? Louder, please.
So use your tools all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So as a coach, right, I've got clients that are like, I just finished it 3 minutes before I met with you. Not the point, right? It's really not the point of execution, and it's helping them develop that habit, right? The 411 is something that you guys should be looking at weekly. Best practices taught by Dennis to me is that we look at it Sundays to help us establish what needs to be done in our week, right? It's helping us establish our 1 through 5 and chunking it down. The other thing to think about that gets overlooked in the 411 is there's the 4-week category. Now we know there's a lot of different styles and flavors to the 411. Now it looks a lot of different ways. But I want you guys to remember that the every week category should only be filled out in the week you are in and not for the whole month. Why?
Roll it over if we don't finish. Say it louder. What you didn't get done the first week, you roll into the next week.
Yes, yeah. Now let's use an example that you guys aren't going to be victim to as we go into 2024. But let's say you missed your contact goal. Might happen, right? So you're supposed to be able to then carry whatever your gap was. Let's say your goal was 20 for the week. You hit 15. Good job on moving that needle in the right direction, but there's still a gap. So being able to take that into the following week means there's 25. Okay. Now I want us to look at this in a future-paced mindset. We know that February is going to be here before we know it. What happens in February? Family reunion in person, which back. Also, we'll go deeper on that, but do you guys know if the agenda for the family reunion is already out? It's already out, so you guys can actually look at it, stack it up against your GPS and your growth plan to make sure that the classes you're attending, the classes you're attending match, right? So you're able to like take that to the next level, which is super beneficial. Where was I? 411?
And the gap.
And the gap. Thank you. And the gap. Okay, so the gap. So that allows you to carry it forward, right? So when we're looking at things like family reunion, it is already the shortest month of the year. We know that we're going to be taking time out, and we know that you guys have diligently planned your vacations because we're always supposed to start our calendars with our personal first, right? Which is another tool we'll talk about. But it'll allow you guys to front load your commitment. Meaning you could get all of your connections done before you leave for family reunion. What would that feel like? Accomplishment, what else? Yes. Talk about owning your narrative and not being reactive. You guys all know what's going to be happening in your world, whether it's a vacation, a family trip, you want to take the whole month of December off. You guys can actually earn the right to that freedom, which is what we want in our industry, by still staying committed and front loading the lead activities, right? When I say lead activities, what am I referring to?
Lead generation appointments.
It's the dials, contacts, appointments set, held, repped, right? And then the lag measure is money earned and closings, right? The byproduct, the stuff we want to talk about anyway. Pamela, I think I saw your hand in the back.
I just think if you're gonna play a game, why don't we make a game out of that piece of it, and let's come up with a goal for the month of February and chunk it down so how we can hit it.
Game on. Okay. All right. How do you want me to start that?
Okay, somebody who knows how many appointments they have to go on. And every month. Who's that? Who knows? There are 4. Okay, 4 appointments to go on. So what's your commitment to lead generation? Like, how many hours, how many dials? 10 contacts a day. 10 contacts a day. So how many days do we have in February this year? 29. 29. We back out some dates. What days will we not be working? Some people have a calendar.
So there's 21 work days a month. Is that what you mean?
Is there?
There's 29
Well, it
days.
depends on how.
Because it depends on where it falls.
That's why I'm like, well, calendar, calendar, pull up the calendar.
Got it.
21.
21. Is there any other day that you know right now that you're not going to be available in February besides family reunion?
Yeah, family reunion.
Are you looking every day except for those days?
Yes. 17.
You have a 17. Is there anything else, like a dentist
Some people don't work
appointment?
on Sundays.
Mhm.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day,
Groundhog Day.
President's Day.
We get to take that
President's Day off?
I'm taking that off.
Yeah, you're
Right,
right.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just asking right now. Okay, so collectively, how many days did you work? 15.
I don't sort of that.
Okay, so if I have 10 calls I need to make every day to start my month, does that mean I have 15 days worth of calls, or does it mean I have 29 days worth of calls to make?
15.
15. If I hit 15, if I do 15, will I hit my monthly goal?
No.
What is my monthly goal for dials then? Contacts.
290.
That's weird. For the month.
For the month.
For the month. Okay, so now I have to take from 290 divided by what number?
15.
What's the number?
This is roughly 300.
19.3. Yeah, so about 20.
20. I was like,
calls.
can we just
You gotta
round
know.
up? Make it 20.
So she has to double her calls between now and the 15th, let's just say, or whatever day she decides, in order to hit her dials before she goes to family.
But if she didn't want to double it, she also knows she's got January, she could put a little bit in January so that February
Oh.
sucked less.
That would be pre-planning, like pre-planning. I think that would be amazing. But do you see how important it is though to actually know like the certainty? What am I actually doing? How many days am I actually working? And no kidding, because you know what, you can fool me, but you can't fool yourself.
We
Right.
can't fool you either, we tried.
Or your
Yeah.
checkbook, or your bank account. You can't fool your bank account.
You can't. Numbers just tell you what you need to do. So however you want to chunk it down is up to you. Whatever, however you want to gamify it, make it fun somehow, bring some fun into it, get all the dials done that you need. And then what about her appointments? If she has 4, how will she manage the appointments she needs to go on?
Oh, hold on, that's just taking my deal.
Okay, go.
Okay, so we talked about the 411, okay? What is the next tool that we use after the 411 or a part of the 411? Did I hear it over here? What did I say?
That's what I said.
A tool.
Calendar.
The calendar, yes. So how does the 411 help influence and help influence your calendar?
Time on.
If
Okay.
it's on Sunday, you need to put it on your Sunday calendar.
Yes, exactly, right, in red for me, safety first, right, can't forget it. Then it's gonna be scary. Okay, so when we look at our calendar now, we've moved from our GPS, our compass for the year, into the 411, which is chunking that down into the activity. Now we've influenced it, and now it's allowing us to tell us what we're doing with our time through our calendar. What else should be on our calendar? How do we use the tool of a calendar at a highest and best?
Block time, blocking everything, your lead gen, your lead follow-up.
Yeah, but what do you start with?
First time off.
Vacation.
Your time off.
Okay, and then what?
And appointments you can't change.
Which would be what part? What's that rule? 80-20?
Oh, yes.
80-20, right? What's the 80-20 rule?
20%.
That's
on the
20%
of the result.
20%.
Oh, yeah, it's on the wall. It's on the wall. Yep, so that's what goes on the calendar first, right? So if you guys catch yourself getting to the end of January, you're behind on your goals, it may be best practice to go back to your calendar and ask yourself, where is your time gone? And where are you spending it? We do a really good job of what I like to refer to as glorifying busy, allowing our now business to affect our future business, right? How many of you guys jump into your email, whether you realize it or not, or jump on Facebook before you've done the important part of your day? I'm guilty, I'm not gonna lie. Yep. I mean, it's early, we're talking like 4 in the morning, right? So I feel like I can get away with it. But the point is it's not best practices, right? You're supposed to start with prioritizing. And then we can even go deeper with time management, right? Because all of us are gonna have different bandwidths and capabilities. When are you your highest and best, physically and cognitively, for you to allow that energy to be spent on what's important, right? Are you time blocking that matches your natural like rhythm and compass as a person around health or what other hiccups you may have going on in your world? We also need to look at, when we talk about our calendars and prioritizing personal and family first, that needs to match too. Are you prioritizing your highest and best for the people that matter most? Or are they getting sloppy seconds? Energy shift. Sit with that for a minute, right? But that's something that you guys can look at and monitor. Are you truly serving your highest and best for the people why you work your ass off to begin with? Or are they just the sloppy seconds once you're done with everything else because you're not sticking to your time block and allowing it to bleed into everything else? I was so guilty of this, and I'm still guilty of it from time to time, of allowing I can finish that in front of the TV kind of a concept. but it doesn't serve us. We need to honor our time blocks, right? So going back to the game, we started with what? Our GPS, which feeds into what? Which goes to the what?
Calendar.
What's next? That often gets overlooked or forgot about once we forget about, did you?
We went from business plan to 411, so you missed 135. Got it.
Yes.
Yes. I am 135.
We'll get you coffee. So what's the last piece of the puzzle that we always seem to, and I'm super guilty of this is why I bring it up, that we always overlook once we get through October? I'm not alone. I feel a little better. I'm going to ask you guys to help me hold me accountable to my growth plan. How many of you guys know what a growth plan is? Cheryl, can you speak about it?
Your growth plan is the overall outlook of, and a forecast tool for what you're going to do for that following 12-month time period. And we've actually broken ours down into profit share, who you're gonna grow your tree with, what are you reading, the time off you're going to take, not all in this right same order. Sorry, I'm trying to be visual here. But literally, it's just breaking it down into the big important rocks, if you will, first.
Yeah. So for me, and everybody, again, remember, there's no wrong way to do a 411, by the way. There's not, right? You're going to show up every week and you're going to grow into that tool as you use it more and more. So I want to caution you with the concept of I don't know how to do it perfect, so I'm not going to do it. Please don't. There literally does not exist as a perfect 411. Is it moving you in the right direction? And you're going to grow into that concept. The more you use it, you also need to have some accountability or paired into that. If you don't have a coach, have an accountability group, right? We know we've got some in our ecosystem. If we don't have one that you're happy with, start one. Because if you don't have the accountability, you're going to have a hard time with that.
So in the 411 on the business side, a real easy tool to use is the 8 goal categories, part of the MREA.
Yep.
So you just stick it on the business side and then it's already, and you plug into those 8 activities, if you will. So then it literally does make it easier.
Yep. The growth plan, though, is kind of like the last tool that gets forget when we talk about our business planning, and it's my biggest opportunity because I really do overlook that bad boy. But it goes back into like when we talk about things like family reunion, or how many of you guys get a call from the ELT being like, you should be at this class? We all have, right? We've all gotten those calls. For you to feel empowered and simply say, that specific class does not match my growth plan. Talk about clarity for you to know what classes are going to move you forward this year, or what breakouts you need to go to for family reunion, and then without having to have emotion, be able to say no to everything else. Clarity is power, and talk about empowering yourself to know where you want to go and the knowledge you want to get for this next year. So when you are building out your growth plan, when you're building out your 411 and your GPS, right? Asking yourself, what is that piece of knowledge or what is that skill that not just for this year, but maybe it's 3 years, right? If you want to grow into that next first hire, CV should be on your class, on your growth plan this year, right? Talk about just simplifying the noise of Keller Williams. We're really good at giving you guys anything and everything, and we bombard you with a lot. And while it's really awesome that we have that much resources, I want to empower you guys to have clarity of what you want to be doing in 2024 and unapologetically telling someone no because it's not on your growth plan. Not no, I'm just not in the mood, right? You see the difference? Do you see how empowering that is? Plus, it's going to allow you to come to us and say, this is the class that I'm missing. I don't see it on your guys' training calendar, which is built out, by the way, as is the regions for the first time in, I don't even know. So now you guys can actually stand by, my stomach's. So now you guys can actually plug into all of those resources and plan accordingly instead of feeling like you have to always kind of be reactive, right? Short notice and things like that. Okay, so I want to hear some of your guys' ahas. Where have you guys done really well with this? Maria.
Well, I just want to circle back. My aha on this is when you're going through the progression of GPS and 411 the calendar. My thought is that it should go GPS, growth plan, the growth plan on 411, and then on your calendar.
Yeah, that's a huge aha because I always in my brain have it last, and I think that's why it's showing up the way it does for me, right? That's massive. Thank you. Jill.
I just just want to encourage anybody that is not doing the 411 or that is resisting it. Pam will tell you I'm not the most stubborn person that she knows. And she's right, because I resisted it. I didn't want the structure. I'm not a structured person. And for the last few years, with my coach, I think 3 or 4 years, I really nailed it. And I'm doing the 411. And instead of structure, it has given me freedom.
Yes.
Because it lets you go. It is amazing.
Yep.
That I resisted it. I just wanted.
Oh, girl, you're not alone. It took me 6 years to even understand how that thing worked. Like, that was, of all the tools, that one was the hardest for me to grasp.
I
don't
couldn't
know
deal with
why. It just was, right? So again, lead with grace. You're not gonna know what you don't know. I wanna challenge you guys to be vulnerable and just try.
Just try it. It
Thank you.
works. I'm telling
Seriously,
you, it
it's the
works.
weirdest, isn't it weird how that works? It's the craziest thing, right? Again, we are in an ecosystem where we don't lead with creativity, right? Gary Keller's favorite shape's that damn triangle. We know that it's upside down, it's unstable. We cannot lead with creativity. So plug into what works. Be humble enough to know where you're vulnerable and have opportunity in your knowledge and your skill, and ask for help, because we've got plenty of it, right? What other ahas are you guys getting?
So I was just thinking about the highest and best, where are you coming to your 20% at your personal highest and best? And I know for me, there's pieces of the disorganized, like if my life is disorganized, I have to come in here early enough to get through my email, to make kind of a to-do list for the day so that my mind is settled. But that's also the distraction point, right? So if you start going through your email, and you're like, oh, this and this and this. But if you take that, like, be real with yourself. What do you need to do to create your highest and best? And then time block that. So like, I know I need to get through those emails so they don't distract me the rest of the day. But if I just give myself a 15-minute time block, that's the time I have to do it. It's not going to turn into 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So like owning your highest and best, and then strategizing how to deal with it.
Well, and it's so true, right? When there's stress points or pressure points, right? Especially in business, sometimes we want to go away from what actually works. And there was a question I learned when I had my team. And it's kind of a harsh question, but it's really honest and it's truthful, is if I had a listing, would this still be a problem? Right? Usually when an agent comes to me with concerns and stresses and all of that, and I simply say, if I get you a listing right now, would this still be a big problem? And typically the answer is no. So it always goes back to, are you prioritizing and focusing on a lead gen based business, right? Everybody remember, it's prospecting focused, marketing enhanced, not this way, not creative people. That's not us, right? But that question, while sometimes it can get a little bit of a punch in the gut, especially when our emotions are high, it's really the reality of letting us know where we need to go back and focus. You guys remember, success is very boring. It is not sexy. It is being willing to do the activities consistently to get the results you're wanting, to earn the right to things like freedom, right? J-Lo spoke on how actually being structured gives you freedom, and it's true. It really is, right?
You couldn't have convinced me of that.
I know, right? Same, boo. What other ahas are we hearing?
What you said just reminded me of what my coach said. He said, the problem to every excuse you have is prospect.
Yep. We can't get away from it.
So every problem we have, every excuse you have, the answer to that is prospect.
Always. Yep. And then there's another tool. We have tools up the wazoo around here, but 4 conversations, right? How many of you guys know what the 4 conversations is? I really, really want to preface it how important that specific tool is for you guys to have in front of you daily, because there is nothing more empowering than knowing I need to have 6 conversations to set an appointment. Do you know how easy that makes life? And on the days where you wake up and you're like, I literally would break a leg over wanting to pick up that big phone. You know what I mean? We're all going to have those days, and we have to be okay with that. But to have the peace of mind of knowing 6 conversations to set an appointment and you're done. Done. Or going back to the whole front loading thing, right? If you need to have 4 conversations, how many or 4 appointments, how many conversations in fact? It simplifies all of it. What if you guys decided that a brand new, what is the car that you like, Jay?
Cybertruck.
A what?
Cybertruck.
The Cybertruck. right? If he now knows he wants a Cybertruck, how many more listings do you need to earn the right to get that Cybertruck and then chunk it down into the conversation? Right? Do you see how that's how you get to freedom? By knowing the numbers. Also, another thing that's totally wackadoodle, but it's true, is numbers tell the story of your business because numbers don't lead with emotion. I hear all the time right now, I feel this about the market. I feel this way about my business. And while I want to honor your feelings, I actually think we should probably talk about the meat and potatoes of your business, which are your numbers. How many active listings do you have? How many active buyers do you have out in the home that's able, ready, and willing to make an offer right now? How many pendings are currently in your pipeline? Because that's probably the pain point, right? You're feeling this way about your business is because you don't have the clarity you need and you don't feel empowered on where to go in your business, right? And then, I mean, when we talk about the actual business planning clinic, we even chunked it down into what are your top 3 lead sources, so that when we get to lead gen and you know you need to make 6 conversations, but you're like, who the heck to talk to? You should have already mapped out what sources you're going to master for the year through business planning, right? And one of those needs to be building your gosh darn database. Because if your database isn't growing, neither are you or your business. You're going to hit a ceiling of achievement. You're not going to be able to go beyond that as much as you want to pretend. The numbers don't lie. We've got evidence in this room that validate that. Okay? Man, I can go off for days, but I won't, right? Do you see how everything ties together? So if you've mastered one, which is the first one we start with is the GPS, you've got to know what your goals are. That better have been influenced by the economic model. So you know that those numbers stand true. Because nothing's more humbling than hitting your unit goal and realizing you didn't get anywhere close to your income goal. And isn't that why we're doing what we're doing to begin with? Life by design, right? So instead of just, I love if you're doing the activities, but don't do the activities to just do the activities. Put intentionality behind it, and if you don't know, raise your hand and ask questions. Okay? All right, any more ahas questions before we go into the announcements? Cool. Appreciate you guys. Let's see what's next. Announcements, I'm shocked.
So PC moment this week, I think there should be, is there one more slide?
Oh, I'm sure there are. One sec.
Should just be one. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So, this amazing playbook came out this year, the MREA playbook. It is filled with all kinds of successful strategies that agents all over Keller Williams have employed over the last 20-ish years since the original MREA came out. So in here are all these one-page strategies for lead gen, sphere of influence, events, all this kind of stuff, but they are not filled with practical, how do I practically apply these principles. So this year we decided once a month, we're going to pull a page out of the playbook and do a deep dive into the page. And we're going to approach it as more of a mastermind. So bring your laptop, bring your ideas, bring your experience, because we're going to talk through the entire page. I'll have some printouts and stuff, but really this is going to be an opportunity for agents of all levels to come and discuss the best ways that we can do things out of this playbook. So not only am I going to drag kicking and screaming productivity coaching people in, but I'm also hoping to enthusiastically invite all of our senior, more experienced agents to come too, because I think together we can take this gold mine of information that's a little bit vague and really nail it into some useful strategies. So the first one, January 25th, so it'll be the 4th Thursday of the month. It'll be on the RBN calendar. We're going to do Supercharger SOI with Gina Sharma, which I think is page 49 in the book.
I know her. I bet you I can get her on Zoom. She can be there with you guys.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Let's do that. She's going to be in charge then.
I don't know.
So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. So we've got the first several months planned out which pages we're going to do, and we'll kind of see how it evolves together as a group, and then we'll pick some more pages later in the year. But we wanted to get several on the calendar, so that's my productivity moment. So I want to make a whole lot of it. It is 11 o'clock.
9 a.m.
You say 9?
At the bottom.
It was
Fourth
August
Thursday,
6th,
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
I thought it was supposed to be 11 o'clock. It will be on the RBN calendar.
Fourth Thursday.
Yeah, fourth Thursdays. And it should be the small training room.
This is the family reunion video. Do you guys want me to play it or?
No.
Okay, cool. I mean, same. Cool.
It's gonna go-
Wait.
Play anyway.
It just doesn't feel- Stop.
Good.
We made it. Okay. So we wanted to put in front of you guys. That's supposed to show Ken. It's covered, but it's there. Okay, I can't with this video.
I think because you clicked the Zoom thing, it,
Okay, anyway, family reunion. How many of you guys are already signed up?
don't single me out like that.
Okay, hold on. Anyway, you guys, we have the breakouts already out. That is so far in advance we've ever experienced to actually understand what's available for you to plan out specifically where you want to be in that space. I want you guys to look at that as an investment in your business. I know a lot of agents that actually walk away making a lot of money because of the referrals and the relationships they make from other agents. Okay, so you will be getting phone calls from staff asking you guys to think about and invest in yourself and your business as we go towards this. Billy, what's our goal?
93.
93.
For better way for this location.
Yep.
And I believe Kent is 43.
And if this doesn't do anything stupid. Okay. So right now we're at 32 registered. I know we've got a low right now because of holidays, but we will be picking that up and pushing towards our goal for participation for that. I know it's just nice to have everything back, right? It's been a couple weird years. It's nice to be able to offer the traditional experiences that we've had before. So just know that you're going to be asked for this experience and be open to the conversation and exploring it with the staff member and the ELT member that's calling you, okay?
The Robins, they're not related.
No, they're not. They are not, but they're phenomenal, both of them. Okay, I'm so fun out of this little bar. Okay, this next class. Okay.
You click the dots, I think. Yeah.
What? These?
Yeah, I think there's an option.
High floating meeting controls.
I owe you so that's phenomenal. Okay.
You better.
I'm putting you in charge. This is ridiculous. Okay.
Oh, now we can click, okay, fine.
I'm just gonna stand here and we're gonna be happy with this. Okay, so we've got Lindsay Dwyer's class, July 4th. How many of you guys have been to this? January. Wow.
I was like, that's a way.
J-Lo, have you been? Can you speak on it a little bit?
The best thing I can say about it is it brings clarity to your mind because it lets you reflect on what you've done in the past versus what you want to do in the next year.
I like that.
And it really puts clarity, just like doing your 411 or your GPS. It lets you see where your growth areas need to be.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. Thank you, J-Lo. I clicked the button. All right, BU social media. We're bringing this class. This is the second time we've brought this, right? I believe we've got, if I remember correctly, we had great feedback from those that attended this. Yeah. So if social media is something that's on your guys' intention for 2024, this is something you guys can plug into, okay? Those going to family reunion, the region is hosting a social, it's the Northwest Glow Fest. We've been there 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when the region put one on. It's a unique venue. It's very different. So I want you guys to extend that for everybody. Tickets are still available, but they are selling out pretty fast. So if you are registered for family reunion, think about this sooner rather than later before it's gone. Vision Breakfast. Who loves Vision Breakfast? Oh man, 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal. For those of you that haven't been there before, it's an opportunity to celebrate your guys' success from the year before. And we do have a speaker coming in speaking about grit. Do you guys know what grit is? Excellent. Making sure you're awake.
Oh, I see.
Would love to see you guys there. It's always a really great and enjoyable experience. This week's training snapshot. You can do the Q code. Remember, this is also available. You guys should be getting a text message every Sunday. It's on Facebook. We've got it printed downstairs, and you can just add it to your Google Calendar as well. Billy.
Can I add something real quick? I think most of you might already know this, but have you noticed when you updated your app, your Command in your hand, that it now gives you 201 if you're in the 201 Plus Club? It's called a club. But just be aware of it. You guys will get like confetti when you get to the 201 if you're not there. Just FYI. And then did we know that we have TikTok? I can't remember if we announced it or not.
If what?
TikTok ads.
Oh, I don't think we have a
Okay, I'll see if we can get something on that.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for making it through announcements with me. Please enjoy Christmas. Have a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing you guys around the office.